You don't think you can collect the Michael Jordan Cajun Cardboard hierarchy. You don't think you can collect Michael Jordan cards because they're too expensive. That ship has sailed. The tide has been lifted too high. You're nervous about jumping in and starting to collect Michael Jordan cards. I don't think that's a good excuse. You may not want to collect Jordan cards, but you don't need to let budget be the reason that you can't. I am going to spend about 15 minutes in today's video showing you the disparity between PSA 10, which is running like crazy, we know, PSA 9 prices, and then PSA 8 prices for 5 random cards from Tier 4 of the Michael Jordan Cajun Cardboard hierarchy. You decide whether or not budget is really a reason for you not to get involved. I don't want to see good collectors who could be collecting Michael Jordan cards with me and having fun doing it not collect them because they think it is price prohibitive. Enjoy the video. Are you tired of selling your cards on eBay, creating the listing, taking the pictures, front, back, shipping, non-paying bidders? Let the pros at Fanatics Marketplace do all of the work for you. I do. That's why I use Fanatics for my vaulting and for my selling. If you've got a bunch of unwanted inventory that you've been sitting on for days, weeks, months, years, ship it to Fanatics Marketplace and let them do all the work. Just make sure when you ship it, you use the promotional code Cajun, all capital letters, C-A-J-U-N, and tell them that Cajun Cardboard sent you, and let the pros do the rest at Fanatics Marketplace. All right, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. I did take 5 at random, and I've got it pulled up on your screen. We're going to talk through them. I'm going to show you where they fit in Tier 4, the bottom tier of the Cajun Cardboard hierarchy. We're going to look at the prices in PSA 10, which is what's making headlines, which is what you see me talking about on Mondays on the Fanatics weekly auction recaps, which is when you see me do these record-setting Jordan videos. It's usually the PSA 10s, sometimes it's 9s, and sometimes it's BGS 9.5s, but we're going to look at the disparity, the egregious, tremendous disparity between 10s, 9s, and 8s on just 5 random sample cards from Tier 4, and I just want to elucidate, I want to shed a little bit of light on the disparity between the prices and remind those out there who are not in the Jordan market, who think those cards have run and it's just too late to get in. It is not too late to get in. You can get in raw. You can get in PSA 8. You can get in PSA 7. You can get in PSA 9 in a lot of cases. You guys will see that today. Let's not waste any more time. Let's pull it up. All right, I've got Tier 4. This is page 11. The first card we're going to talk about is right here on your screen. You'll see total O, total O, total O. We're going to talk about this 1995 Fleer total O, and I'm pulling up the Hot Packs parallel to look at today. So here it is. That's the first card. It's the Michael Jordan. You'll see the Hot Packs down here in the bottom right where my cursor's wiggling down here. Good looking card. 3-year set, basically a 3-year run of Fleer Total O. Not a big Jordan hierarchy card. Not a big Jordan insert. All right. PSA 10 can cost you 4 figures. Look, the last one sold for $1,230. This is the 2-year history of this card. It's up 161%. So yes, everything they're saying about PSA 10's running is true, even on a relatively, ho-hum, run-of-the-mill Michael Jordan insert card. This is not a big card. It is not one of Jordan's top 200, maybe not even one of his top 300 insert cards. I don't know. It just depends on your perspective. I don't think it is. I think it's probably somewhere in the 200s, maybe 300s. I don't know. But it is up by more than double. So this card was a $470 card in 22, and now it's a $1,230 card for a PSA 10. But watch what happens when I'm on Card Ladder and I drop down to the PSA 9. It immediately drops to a last sold price of $51. Look at this, $51. Let's take the average. This is what I want to do on the 9s and 8s because they sell so often. We'll use the last sold price for the PSA 10s because those are changing quickly and they don't sell as often. So I think the last PSA 10 sales price is important. But for the 9s and 10s, this is over the last 6 months. It sold 16 times, so we're going to use the average price, $63 for a PSA 9. $63 for that card right there. Anybody out there who's collecting cards can purchase a Total Low Hot Pack PSA 9. That's a mint condition card for $63. And when you go down to PSA 8, it gets even crazier. Look at this. The average, $37 over the last 6 months. Okay, so that's card number 1. Card number 2 on our list is the Inside Outside. Right here, again, super high print run. Pretty cool card. Really early Jordan insert. 1993 Ultra Inside Outside. It's located right there on your screen with Jordan shooting that picturesque jumper with the big pink fluorescent vibrant ball going through the hoop behind him. Let's pull it up and let's look at some details. There's the card up close and personal. Gorgeous card. Really miserable to try to find this card in a PSA 10. Primarily not because of centering. It's borderless. Not because of surface, because it's fine. It's a high gloss card. We're good there. Nice good card stock. The issue is going to be edges and primarily corners, because you're talking about 8 dark corners if you include front and back. The last PSA 10 sold for $2,250. It's up 54% over the last 2 years. Now, watch what happens when we back it down. First of all, it's pop 48. I want to show you why this card's so rare. 1.95% gem rate. So 1 out of 50 chance of gemming. It's been graded almost 2,800 times or over 2,800 times. So again, not a rare card. But you want to back off the PSA 10. You know what, Cajun? I'm going to collect it in PSA 9. You can do it. And let me show you why. Check it out. PSA 9. 110 was the last sale over the last 6 months. You're talking about $110. $110 card for a PSA 9. That's a 314 pop card. Watch what happens when we go to 8. Look at the average. It's freaking $18, $20 with shipping and insurance to grade a card with PSA right now. You can pick up the PSA 8 copy if you just want to collect. This is not about long-term investment. This is not for the people out there who message me and say, hey, what's the best long-term investment for my dollar in the Jordan market? This is not for you people. This is for the people like me who want to kind of work their way through the hierarchy. And again, I'm not saying the hierarchy is how you need to collect. It's just a gigantic buffet of options that you can choose from based on the visual appeal, whatever speaks to you from the poster, right? Check it out. There's your inside-outside card. It's clearly, squarely, it's on T4 on the same page as that Total Low Hot Packs. $22 for a PSA 8. It doesn't get any cheaper than that. It's $20 to grade a card at PSA, for gosh sakes. So basically you're getting a free card if you really want to kind of look at it from that perspective. The next card on our list is going to be the famous nicknames, which is a very recognizable card. Here we are right here. This is your famous nicknames with Jordan in the white uniform going up for a layup. It is also from 1993 Ultra. Of course, the nickname on here is Air. Some people argue it should say Air Jordan, but it doesn't. It just says Air. That's a pop 250 in PSA 10. And so this one does come back into the 3 figures. So this is a card many people have, and they do own in a PSA 10 copy because there's so many of them, and because it's a 3-figure card. But check it out. This card is also up 45% over the last 2 years. So good return on that PSA 10. But if you wanted to collect it in PSA 9, you're probably looking at a card down here. Let's switch it over to 6 months. Now you're looking at an $89 card. An $89 card. It sold 67 times. And if you really were patient, you could get it for much less than that. Many times this card has sold in the 60s over the last 67 sales. And it's not like it's nosediving in PSA 9. It's down 7% over the last 2 years. PSA 8, it gets wacky again, a $34 card. And it's actually up 26%. Somebody picked one up for $22.50. So that is Exhibit C, right? We've seen A, B, and C. That's 3 cards that you could pick up on the super cheap in PSA 8. We're going to look at the end of this. I'm going to compare the 10s to the 9s to the 8s. And then we're going to look at the disparity and how many magnitudes greater the PSA 10 is to the PSA 8. And you guys, I'm going to pose the question to you. Is it just too much? Is the PSA 10 running just too much? And again, I promise you, I just took the first 5 cards that I could find in Tier 4 that were in the Card Ladder database. It's not like I'm hand choosing cards where PSA 10s are high and PSA 8s are low. I just took the first 5 cards that I looked at that I knew would be in the database. Okay, so the next one we're talking about is the 1989 sticker, and here it is in the bottom right. Everybody should recognize that one. Even the image that I used on the hierarchy poster is off center. You know why? Because damn near all of these are off center, top to bottom and left to right. Left to right's easy to spot. Top to bottom, you got to look at how the stars match up down here on the bottom, and you can see these do not match up. So this is like a PSA 6 or something stupid like that. But let's pull it up. Here it is in a PSA 10. Are you sitting down for this? It is a $3,960 sticker. And look, that is coming down from $4,800. This was a much higher valued sticker about 3-4 months ago. So now it's come all the way back down to $3,960. What do you think a PSA 9 sells for? Well, what do you know? Over the last 6 months, the PSA 9 sells for $119, and that is after running up about $35, $40 from $88 up to right here. It's up 44% over the last 6 months. It's up a hell of a lot more than that over the last 3 months. It's up 76% over the last 3 months. So you can pick up the PSA 9 copy, which is a mint copy, people. Look, that's really well centered top to bottom. It's okay. Left to right, it looks perfect to me. It's a pop 1,575. Again, the reason the PSA 10 is so expensive is because the gem rate is, are you ready? 0.52%. That's 1 in 200 chance of pulling a PSA 10. That has been graded over 18,300 times. The PSA 9 has sold 38 times in the last 6 months. You could have picked it up as low as $79. Most recently, it sold for $200 at the high, and the average has been about $119. If you want to talk crazy cheap, however, look at this. Now you're talking about over the last 6 months. First of all, over the last 6 months, the PSA 8 is up 46% to $23. So it's a $23 card over the last 6 months on average. Somebody picked one up for $10. That is half of the cost to grade a card at PSA. And then the last card that we're going to talk about, we're going to move one more page over on the hierarchy poster to right here, and we're going to talk about the round ball royalty. The picture image on the hierarchy poster, as on all of the posters with coating, is going to reflect it with the coating. Of course, I would peel the coating off, and we're going to look at the card without the coating. That's just me, and that's my personal preference, and that just so happens to be what I chose on Card Ladder today. So there's your round ball royalty. Again, people are familiar with the round ball royalty refractor. That's a big dog. Even in a PSA 8 slab, you're going to pay a pretty healthy number for that one. PSA 9, a little bit more. PSA 10, you really get to be an expensive card. But we're talking about the base insert. This is not the refractor parallel. This is just the base round ball royalty, no coating. Still a gorgeous card. It's a pop 102 in PSA 10. It's a $470 card, so not impossible to get. This is a card that's actually flat over the last 2 years. We've looked at 4 cards that have all gone up very considerably over the last 2 years. Round ball royalty is pretty flat. It's a pop 102. This card's been graded a little bit less than everything else. A total of, they don't have BGS in here, and I don't know why, but PSA has graded it 203 times. Look at this. It's got a 50% gem rate. That's crazy. That does not make sense, but that's what it says. And the PSA 10 is about a 434 on average. The last one sold for 470. If we look at the PSA 9, it's about half. 220 average price. Sorry, that's over the last 2 years. Let's go last 6 months. $239 over the last 6 months. And then a PSA 8, you're down at $115 over the last 6 months with only 3 sales. So there's your 5 cards. Now let's tie it all together. Do you guys get my point? Do you see how when you look at the PSA 10, card, it can be a little bit disheartening, and it can make maybe a newer collector, or maybe not even a newer collector, maybe a veteran collector who's always collected Mitch Richmond or Ray Allen or Olajuwon or David Robinson or for God's sakes Giannis or Curry or whoever. You go back and you look, you've got to educate yourself, and that's where the Hierarchy Project comes in. That's where the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel comes in. There's an untold fortune of education, not just coming from me. I'm just sharing the data that I find, and I'm bringing on really smart Jordan collectors and 90s basketball card collectors who know infinitely more about the cards than I do. So the channel is a great way to educate yourself. The Hierarchy Project posters are a great way to educate yourself. The playlist Cajun Cardboard Hierarchy for Jordan stuff is a great way to educate yourself. But even after all that, you can know anything and everything. You can see how it might dissuade someone from actually dipping their toes in the Jordan waters, because the PSA 10 prices, every day we hear it. They go up, they go up, they go up. And I'm partially to blame for that, but that's exciting stuff. And I want to share it with people out there. And I want the folks that are sitting on the gem mint copies to make money. And I'm one of those people, hand raised. So it's great news. It's a great indicator for the Jordan market. But I want to remind everybody out there, don't let budget be the reason you can't do it. Let's tie it all together. Check this out, my people. All right, I've got it pulled up. Here's the 5 cards that we looked at, right? The Total Low Hot Packs, the 93 Inside Outside, the 93 Famous Nicknames, the 89 Fleer sticker, and then the 98 Topps Round Ball Royalty, the base copy. no coating. Look at the PSA 10 column. Just those 5 cards would cost somebody $8,635. Look at the PSA 9 column, $620. That's about $120 a card. It's $124 a card precisely on the nose. No card costs more than $240. So for $620, you could get all of the PSA 9s. Look at the PSA 8 column. It's about a third of that, $232. $232 for 5 Michael Jordan Tier 4 hierarchy inserts / parallels. Oh, well, they're actually all inserts. Well, one's an insert parallel. So here's what I want to show you. This is the most extreme example. There's 2 of them over here. So I'm going to get rid of both of these highlights. We're going to click both of these. We're going to take this off. We're going to go back to here. The PSA 10 inside outside is 96 times the price of a PSA 8. I don't know if a lot of people know that. They may see inside outside sold for $2,225. Well, let's scratch that off the list. I can't possibly collect that card. You can for $23, okay? For $110, you can get a nice mint copy, really big time copy. If you think the inside outside disparity between 10 and 8 is bad, wait until you see me reveal the 89 sticker. Are you ready for this? 172X. $3,960 for a PSA 10, $23 for a PSA 8 on average over the last 6 months. 172X. That's 2 of the most extreme examples out of the 5 that we looked at. The only one that's even relatively remotely in the same ballpark is the Topps Round Ball Royalty, and it's no coincidence that's the lowest pop card that we looked at from this list of 5 cards. It just so happens to be by far the lowest pop that we looked at, and when the pop is low, even the cards in lower grade tend to mean more, and the grade means less and the card means more, and so it kind of pulls the 8s and 10s together. Again, it's still 4X, don't get me wrong, it's more than 4X, but that is a much more doable, workable margin. It makes more sense, and that's why it makes sense. It's a lower pop card, so grade doesn't mean as much as the card itself. But here's what you're looking at: $8,600 to do the 5 cards in PSA 10, about $232 to do the cards in PSA 8. You want to put it all together for all 5 cards. The PSA 10s are 14 times as expensive as the PSA 9. So what that means is you can buy I mean, look, I'm not telling you, this is very simple math, even for me, right? I'm 50 years old. I've forgotten most of my math that I did learn in high school, and I was an AP student, so actually I was pretty smart for Louisiana. But 14X is the price for 10s over 9s. That means you can get 14 times the bang for your buck in the PSA 9 world than you can in the PSA 10 world on average, again, with a very small sample size of 5 cards. So that's 70, you're buying 70 cards instead of 5, right? If you're buying them in PSA 9. Now you're talking about 70 Michael Jordan inserts or parallels from the 90s in the hierarchy that you could pick up for the cost of 5 PSA 10s. That's bananas. That is crazy to me that one grade can make that big of a difference. And again, this is coming from somebody with a lot of the Gem Mint copies. I'm just trying to shed some light on it and pose the question, have we gone too far? Have we gone too far from 9 to 10? Have we gone too far? And I know everybody's going to probably, well, they're Gem Pop. You want the best of the best, and they're the lowest. I get all that, okay? I'm not an idiot. I get all that stuff. All that stuff does make sense. You want the best of the best. Everybody wants the best of the best. It's why you want the gold serial number to 10 instead of the orange serial number to 49, instead of the red serial number to, whatever it is, 199 instead of the blue number to 29. I get all those things, but have we gone too far with the disparity in price between a 10 and a 9 for the exact same cards? What about the 8s? What about the 8s? 37X on average. Again, we saw the 2 massive disparities between the inside-outside and the Fleer sticker up here of 96 and 172, but on average, it's 37X, thanks to the Topps Round Ball Royalty pulling us back into some semblance of logic, right? But 5 PSA 10s, you could get 37 times as many 8s. 37 times 5 is 185. You can pick up 185 PSA 8 inserts and parallels for the price of 5 PSA 10 copies. from the Cajun Cardboard hierarchy. Again, assuming there's enough of these out there. Of course, some of this card's in tier 4. You know, if we go back and look at the and we look at it, like some of these are going to be very expensive, even in a PSA 8. Like my man over here, right? You're talking about a very expensive card right there. Let's give it another good example. Let's scroll back here. These are not that rare. Oh, well, so these are serial numbered. The Star Surge and the Wild, those are going to be serial numbered cards. They're going to be pretty pricey. The limited access is going to cost you a little chunk here in PSA 8. The net sets is kind of a little bit of an expensive card in a PSA 8 copy. And then, you know, the Unstoppable's tough to find. The Fleer Zone's a relatively, you know, pricey card in PSA 8. The Tiffany down here, the Fleer Tiffany down here is going to be a pretty expensive card in PSA 8 as well. But it can be done, folks. And I just want you guys to know that. I don't want anybody not to come into the Jordan world. And again, you know, some people are saying, why are you telling everybody to come in the Jordan world? You're trying to buy Jordan cards. All you're doing is driving the price up. I don't care. That's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of the video is not for me to figure out how to, you know, arbitrage on Jordan cards. It's to get more people doing what I love to do. When you love to do something, you love to talk to other people about it. You love to educate and entertain those people. And I have a blast every time I hit the record button to pull up any random topic and talk about Michael Jordan cards. And so for those of you who are messaging me, hey, shut up about the this or shut up about the that, you're driving the price up. A, I don't really think I am. It ain't like that many people are watching the videos, you know. But B, I'm just sharing information with the world that's readily available to anybody with a card ladder subscription or a Market Movers subscription or 130 point or eBay sold listings. It's not like I'm creating the comps. I'm simply sharing the information, and I think that's part of my job, and that's what I'm choosing to do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's always fun to look at you know, some different Jordan cards. It's always fun to talk about the disparity between the 10s, the 9s, and the 8s. I want to know what you guys think. And I've done these videos before. Has the pendulum swung too far? It seems to be growing. The disparity in value seems to be growing. And yes, I could have put the BGS 9.5 in here, but that gets a little tricky because you got quad gems and then you got gem pluses, and those are really not the same card. They're just not, especially on the rare cards. There's a drastic difference in value, so I didn't want to do anything with the BGS because those subgrades tend to throw things off. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Do me a favor, if you like videos about Michael Jordan basketball cards or just basketball in general, hit the subscribe button. You won't be disappointed. I may not be the best content creator on social media and on YouTube, but I can tell you this, I am the most consistent content creator in the world of basketball card collecting, and I'll fight anybody who says otherwise. Enjoy the video, guys. Let me know if you've picked up any of these cards that we talked about recently. Let me know if you picked it up in an 8, 9, or 10. I won't fault you for picking up any of them. They're all great cards regardless of the grade. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby, and peace.